Okay.
Today we're talking about, hi, I'm Coach Lee Hill. Today we're talking about how our nervous system, as far as women, affects our hair growth mentally and physically. And I'm definitely going to tune in more towards my sisters because it's a little different with certain things because we're the ones that are doing certain types of things to avoid. It can go across the board, but for the most part, I want to deal with our sisters because we're talking about combating bad practices, hair loss when it comes to CCCA, right? So we're going to talk today about avoidant mindset, right? Why we have the avoidant mindset. We're going to also talk about anxiety that we deal with a lot. Then we're going to talk about being aware of it when it is triggering you and it's happening, learning how to relax, and then how your body will feel once you go through this process. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know why I keep turning. I feel like my chair is turning, y'all. I'm going to be honest with you. Your nervous system can affect every area of your life. And as a matter of fact, it does. We just never paid attention to it. We call it different things. We say, oh, I got ADHD. I'm having a panic attack. We call it these different things. But in actuality, it's kind of like, the best way I can explain it to you, it's kind of like having a thermostat, or your life is always used to going a certain way. Then you're trying to elevate yourself. So you're trying to switch out and you're trying to change, right? And so a lot of times what happens is that once you start changing the rhythm and you start doing things differently, your body bucks, your mindset, your consciousness kind of bucks against it, say, no. Let's go back to what it regularly was. And so what happens in that is that you get into a place where, I think they call it like the freeze, where let's say like me, I'm doing videos every day. You see a video every 4 days out of the week. And then you see me on Sunday live, right? On Beauty Pioneers. And then I start getting all these subscriptions. Like recently this week, as of Sunday, I got 81 new subscribers, right? Yay. However, let's say in that time, now I see it becomes overwhelming. So then what do? I say, oh my God. And then I back away. Now you're only seeing maybe one video, 2 videos, or I just shut down altogether because my body, like my mindset became overwhelming, because now the things that I called in that I would love to have done, now it's starting to happen. My mindset, my subconscious mind is like, no. Let's go back to where we would having 1 and 2 views versus a few thousand views, right? So that is your nervous system, getting your nervous system used to a certain way, right? So that's the best way. I'm probably going to have different other analogies, y'all, as we go on real quick. So one of the things that we deal with, ladies, we have all different kind of hats on. We are mothers. We are fathers sometimes. A lot of you like to think that you're fathers. We have careers. We are business owners. We have trauma. We have deaths. We have divorces. We have abuse. Right? We have these different type of things that may happen in our lives, unfortunately, right? And so when that happens, we go into a flight or fight mode. That's the survival mode. And I can think of myself, and many a times I'm now now in my life, I am at a place where I'm like, I don't have to be in survival mode. Like I'm always in this, even when blessings are happening, things are good that are happening, I go into this survival mode because I've been so used to it from a kid, being a kid that didn't have a lot and watching a lot of trauma as a kid. I find myself when I'm doing great or things are happening good, I go back into this survival mode where I'm like, oh, I got to create some type of situation so my body, my nervous system can feel comfortable in stressful fight or flight times, right? So I can triumph. It's weird, but it's like an addiction with it, right? So a lot of us go live in fight or flight mode, and we don't realize it. We think because we internalize a lot of things that we're not dealing with chronic stress, right? And then what happens as now I'm older, right? You deal with high elevated cortisol, right? So that's cortisol. Let me see if I got the cortisol, what cortisol means. Okay. Yeah, so cortisol is a hormone produced by the adrenal glands located on the top of the kidney, okay? It increases blood sugar, suppresses inflammation. So we may have inflammation in our body, right? It suppresses it. Cortisol reduces inflammation, which can be beneficial in short-term stress responses. So these are some of the things that does. It suppresses it. It regulates your blood, right? It boosts metabolism. It suppresses your immune system. So when you read the cortisol, you're like, oh, okay, that's a good thing. But what happens is when it's raised, then we have the belly, the stressed belly, right? We have our hair that's starting to fall out. So it's not necessarily just bad practices, but I'm going to tell you how bad practices falls into it. So we may have elevated cortisol. So your cortisol is supposed to be balanced. When it's elevated, that is when it's in stress mode, okay? Our blood vessels are constricted, less oxygen, nutrients to the hair follicles. So these are things that we're like, wait, what? Yes, these things happen, okay? And these could be in any situation. If you're going to school, you got a test, different things like that. We have to learn that we have to be aware of what's going on to be able to say, hey, this is what's happening. It's not, you're losing it. It's not, you're not going to get that promotion, or it's not that you're going to fail that test, or it's not that you're not going to graduate, or whatever the case may be. It is your body trying to adjust, and it is up to us to be aware of it, right? So when you're seeing you're experiencing hair loss, it is not for you to go into avoidance. Oh my gosh, my hair is shedding, it's breaking off. I hate my hair, I always have bad hair days. So now I'm gonna put a weave, or I'm gonna put a wig on it, and I'm gonna wear it I'm gonna give my hair a rest for a year. That's what we say. I'm gonna give my hair a rest. But then we walk around and brag about being natural hair. You're not really natural hair because you're natural hair because you're not putting chemicals, but you're not wearing your hair. So it's not really something to be proud of if you are avoiding your hair. So we go into avoidant. We avoid things, right? Stress, then we go into, I got to cover it up. That's what women do. And we got to go outside and we got to put on that smile. We got to say, hey, blessed and highly favored. We got to laugh. We got to fake the funk. We may have bad situations at home. We got to go outside and protect the ones that's giving us the most problems, right? And so we got to go out there and do that. So guess what we do? We avoid. We put the mask on and we shut everything down. Our body is telling us, hey, something is going on, but we continue to live in the fight or flight mode and avoid, right? The elephant is in the room, but we don't necessarily pay attention to it, or we know it, but we just ignore it, right? And then what happens, the mental health in the hair, anxiety, trauma, low self-esteem can drive women to damaging habits, right? So this is where bad practices comes in at, right? It's like, girl, give yourself some self-love. I don't have the money, but I'm gonna do my hair at home. Or I know a girl that can do 2 braids for me for $25. Okay, we down here in Miami. I know a girl that can do 2 braids for me, $20. I don't care what products she use. I don't care how tight she makes it. I just don't want to be bothered with my hair right now, right? I'm going through a lot. I need to sew my hair down. I'm going to wear a wig. I'm going to wear a weave. And that is not the issue. The issue is if you're doing that and you see you having a scalp disorder and you refuse to treat it because you're dealing with so much other things in your life that you put yourself on the back burner. The other issue is that the avoidant comes in when you're wearing your wigs, your weaves, your quick weaves longer than you're wearing your own hair. You can't, to me, I think it's very hypocritical for you to go out and brag, and I see it all the time. People say, oh, that's why I'm all natural. I go natural, but you don't wear your hair. So what are you really saying? You know what I mean? So yes, you're not putting chemicals in because it was frying your hair out, right? But at the same token, you're still not proud of your hair. I can show you 1,000 videos in 1 week where there's women that's on TikTok, social, Instagram, all different kinds of social media showing how beautiful and luxury and gorgeous their hair, their weave is. But you don't see a lot of them focusing on their natural hair. So that's where the avoidant comes in. That's where the self-esteem becomes low because of that. You're actually in a state of anxiety and trauma. If you are a person that is, these are the characteristics that you carry when it comes to your own hair, that you don't wear your own hair and you're always trying to figure out what's the newest thing that you can do because you don't want to deal with issues and stuff like that, your body is probably in anxiety. You're having anxiety. I know it's like, what? And if you had some type of trauma and you're going over to, hey, let me not deal with my hair at all, that is kind of like everything is playing a role. Hopefully I'm rolling it out for you guys so you can kind of see what happens. So trauma happens, then avoidant happens. You figure out how to avoid yourself, how to take care of yourself, how to give yourself self-love. Then trauma, avoidant, and then anxiety comes, right? Because now you may be dealing with the trauma and you don't want people to see you. So now you're going to start doing bad habits, creating bad habits and creating bad habits because you're actually in anxiety mentally, right? And so you're getting things done to you so you don't have to deal with it. So last thing I want to deal with is my hair, I know. So we neglect the scalp care due to depression or fatigue. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I just had a lady put in in one of the videos how she has been postpartum for 16 months. I know what postpartum, that for me, when I had postpartum, it was so severe that I was suicidal. So I know what postpartum is like, and I went through that for about 2 years. So when she stated that, I understood the mindset she's in. So she is definitely, now her hair is thinning, right? So she's definitely in that flight or fight, right? And she's constantly in in anxiety and stress. She's constantly in that. So guess what? It's the hormones now, the cortisol is high, all different kind of things are happening. And we don't realize it because you know why? Especially when it comes to Black women, we're so used to being a strong Black woman. We're so used to being, child, I can handle it, right? We're so used to that type of mindset that we don't realize that we're actually putting our body physically in danger, not just our hair, but our mental health in danger. We're no good to our family. We're no good to our friends, but yet we stay in a state of anxiety and we stay in a state of avoiding our own self-love, right? And trying to help others. And in essence, we're really not. We're actually demonstrating, in a way, self-hate. I know, I'm like, whoa. Yes. So the physical impact is, of course, we just talked about hormonal imbalance, estrogen. Some of you may have thyroid, and it says cortisol again. So thyroid, I can tell you, my dad had died. I was running a salon, and my mom was on her way passing. She was actually dealing with stage 4 cancer. She had bone cancer, and it had metastasized. So I was driving from Oviedo, Florida, all the way down to Miami every week, right? From February to May when my mother passed, right? So I was always 120, y'all. I got up to 180 pounds, all right? So I know everything this is saying is true. My hair was thinning. It was breaking off around the edges. At that time, I was using a particular relaxer, which was the Mazzani, which they had switched. So that played a role. And then I just started putting weave in my hair because I was like, I don't have time. I'm depressed. I can't grieve my father, my stepdad that passed. I'm dealing with my mom. I got kids in school. I got a husband at the time that's traveling out in the country, and I'm running a salon. You talking about pressure? A lot of us live this way. And so this is what happens. So we're in this state. Our nervous system is out of whack. That's what the nervous system is. It's connected to all these different things, right? So if you're a person that you deal with financial issues all the time, so you're probably a person that avoid checking your bank account because you already know it's $2.75 in there. So you don't want to see it because it brings on and it triggers things that happen to you, things that like, gosh, I'm still in this state of poverty, but you're calling in God, Lord, send me a blessing, send me a financial blessing. But at the same time, you're avoiding it, right? So we have to learn to be able to see the issue when it comes, whether it is depression, and depression is like a a cloud of storm of rain. When depression comes, you can see it. You can be having a great time, but you see that it's coming in. And we have to learn to be able to feel through that, to recognize it, be aware of it, and then push through it. Take on the emotions that you're having at that time, but push through it. You know what I mean? And so what we have to do, we have to create calming practices, meditation, journaling, prayer, scalp massages. Those are great things. It's a start of showing self-love to yourself, all right? Somatic care, deep breathing, mindful wash days. Wash your hair, take care of your hair. Your nervous system is resetting, okay? Community health, healing. Community healing, right now, Dawn and I are in the works of creating a community for especially our Black women that are dealing with CCCA, dealing with postpartum, different forms of hair loss, right? But definitely the CCCA, because we are the ones that's experiencing bad practices. And we're doing bad practices because of the simple fact that we don't have the education, neither do we have the support, all right? So finding that community, and it doesn't necessarily have to necessarily be just finding women. You can find that on social media, like YouTube University, right? You can find videos. I was just talking to a good friend yesterday, and I said, find videos where you lack at, where you're hurting at. There is someone else, there's another sister out there that's dealing with the same thing you're dealing with. Find that tribe, connect with that tribe, understand that you're not the only one, and find out the steps that they're doing to get out of that, right? And then self-talk and identity. Reframing your beauty standards reduces the nervous system pressure to conform. So the best way I can tell you that is, let's think about it this way. It's cold, right? I keep my temperature in my home 74 degrees, right? But let's say I have somebody that's here with me, right? My family's like, oh my gosh, 74, I'm still hot. So they want it down to 60, right? So I'm like, no, we're not doing 60. We're going to meet at the middle ground. So they say, okay, let's do 65 or let's do 67. And I'm like, no, let's do 70, right? So we go ahead and say, okay, we're going to do 70. Now, all this time, I've been in my home, 5 years, I've been in my home, and it's been on 74. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn that thermostat down to 70. I'm having all kind of mental, I'm in a bedroom, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm freezing in here. I'm not going to be able to do it. You know what I mean? And so I'm bucking. I'm like, child, it's too cold. The dog cold, all these different things I'm thinking about of why it can't be. But it's really that I'm bucking. Right? I always tell my friends, if something new happens to me, I buck first and then I get on board. So my body is bucking. That's my nervous system. Like, hey, what's going on? No. Go back to 74. Go back to 74. But what's better for me is the 70 degrees. So I have to be aware and say, hey, I know you're used to being this way, 74, but guess what? You do better, you work better, you sleep better at 70. So let's go ahead and let's breathe through this. Let's calm our minds down. Let's find something positive to look on or turn on some meditation music or whatever, and let's fall asleep. Then you fall asleep, and guess what? You wake up and you're feeling rejuvenated and fresh. That's part of self-love. That is tuning your nervous system, okay? So I wanted you guys to understand that your nervous system affects your hair loss, your hair growth, and your hair loss. So a lot of times we may be thinking, I need a pill, I need some minoxidil, no. It's you stepping back, looking at your life and what's going on right there in the moment and picking and saying, you know what, this is what's happening. Let me see if I just do these techniques. It don't cost me no money to switch this up, you know what I mean? And let me see how that works for me. But going out buying pills or going out and I'm not telling you don't do that because I'm not no doctor. You do what you're supposed to do. But sometimes it takes little tweaking like that to go ahead and reform your hormonal system and reform your energy. It's your energy. Reform your nervous system. And everything around you negative, get that out of the way so you can start taking care of yourself, so you can start taking care of the people you love. You have a purpose here in life. Your purpose is not to walk around with glamorous hair and it look like everything is beautiful and get a man. We are here with a purpose, each and every one of us. And someone out there needs you to be on your game, right? So I pray that this video has helped you. And guess what, guys? I will see you next video. All right? Thank you. Bye-bye. I'm coming, Rue. Okay. You ready? Mm-hmm. So with that, when we're having anxiety and we go to bad practices, right? We're stressed out. You're going to see some photos that I have where we turn and we start doing the bad practices, whether that's applying a chemical service that serves you not well at all, right? We turn to bad perms. We turn to tight braided hair. We like, oh, my hair is natural. I'm wearing braids. How tight are they? Are they causing traction alopecia, right? We are avoiding the scalp disorders. And then I actually put in pictures where you can see what women are looking like with quick weaves, when the quick weave are no longer in their hair, what they look like under that. And hopefully that will wake you up to be like, you know what? I need to change this. Inflammation. A lot of us have inflammation on the scalp, right? From the pulling, from the CCCA, from those bad practices, those bad hairstyles that we're implementing. So we're dealing with inflammation. Then we have scalp disorders that we put the wigs over, right? Or we go into these shops where they're washing our hair really good. And we take those and they wash it out and they take out all the flakes and the dandruff, whatever it is, you may have a breakout of psoriasis, whatever it may be. So they wash that out and then you go ahead and put the wig over it, or you go ahead and put your weave over it, and then, or a quick weave, and then you have, especially if it's a quick weave, you have a breakout, all right? Or you have a thing where now you see the flakes and everything is coming. But guess what? You avoid it by those different services and you don't touch it for a month or 2 months, for however long, right? So I have pictures showing what you actually look like when that's done. And then I also have another picture where it's showing you guys what happens at the final stage when we go into avoidance and anxiety, where we're avoiding our hair, period. You know what I mean? And then what's the final result of that? All right.